Today, the moon is in Scorpio, and we're talking about emerging into your new self. I've got a few different reasons why I chose that theme for today. I'm going to explain them to you and how to make the most of this Scorpio energy, building on what I was sharing yesterday when the moon first went into Scorpio. So, yesterday was Monday, September 18th, and today, this is the Astro vibe for Tuesday, September 19th. Thank you for being here. I am Marina Ormes. And so not only is the moon in Scorpio, where we go deep, where we feel things, where there is a kind of transformative process taking place. It's like a death and rebirth, with either the death or the rebirth or both. So sometimes, and sometimes it's literal, and sometimes it's metaphorical or symbolic. These energies don't really care, right? They're just energies. It's a quality, and it can show up in any number of different forms. So the Scorpio energy is the energy of mystery because it deals with what happens when we die, where we come from when we're born. It's some of those, just those deeper questions about who we are beyond this physical body, beyond this physical world. And not to get too esoteric on you, because even in a very everyday sort of sense, we have this experience of letting go, right? Letting go of old ways of being, letting go of old ways of thinking, feeling things that are moving through us. When you think about feelings, they are ways of letting go. Whether we feel sadness or anger or grief, we are releasing something. So all of those feelings are going on that deeper level, and the Scorpio moon helps us get in touch with them. So we are talking about emergence into your new self. And this moon cycle is, we're working on the theme of self-improvement, of humility, of being of service, and how to work on ourselves so that we can be more in service to a greater good. So we're working on that throughout the moon cycle. We began this current cycle with the new moon in Virgo, and then today's Scorpio moon, waxing moon in Scorpio, is helping us to get in touch with these deeper parts of ourselves as we are doing that work of sort of allowing ourselves to be more of service, working on how we can grow, learn, improve, be even better at whatever it is we want to be better at. So with the moon in Scorpio, we have that energy of transformation, of death, of rebirth, right? We have the opportunity to discover anew who we are, who we want to be. How can we shed that old snake skin and step into a new sense of self? So that's part of the Scorpio transformation. But another reason, adding layers, which I love the story of astrology and how it brings layers into our understanding. And you can get a little more context of that from Sunday's video back on, way back on Sunday, September 17th. I did a video on sort of how these different layers of astrological meaning fit together and how you can work with them in ways that are very accessible. So check out that video if you missed it. But we are building these layers in. And so the layer of emerging is partly because Scorpio is about shedding that skin, transformation, stepping into a new way of being, rebirth. It is also the case that the moon is opposing Jupiter and also Uranus in Taurus. So at different points today, the moon will be passing by an opposition to those planets. So here's a good example. If you did watch my video from Sunday, here's a good example why I have 30 years of experience looking at these, and I can pull that out and say, here's something I want to pay attention to and share with you. But you, as a beginning astrologer, or wherever you are in your journey, maybe you're right there with me. But if you're not, don't worry about it, because you don't have to be aware of all these things to get something useful out of astrology. That's why I'm here. I'm here to let you know. Okay, so the moon is in Scorpio. It is opposing throughout the day at different points Jupiter and then Uranus. Jupiter and Uranus are outer planets hanging out currently in Taurus, both of them. Taurus is an earth sign. It is about what is normal, what is dependable, what is predictable, what is the status quo. And both of these planets are asking us to grow and change our ideas of what is normal, what is reality, even. What is our understanding? What are our foundations of understanding the status quo and what we can count on? So Jupiter is more about growth, Uranus is more about change, but both of them have to do with this idea of growing and changing our idea of what we count on, what we depend on, how we understand things to be. And so it's kind of hard to get outside of that, right? It's always what you're in. It's like the soup you're in. You can't really see it from the outside unless you consciously take that step back and get that bigger perspective. It's like being in your house all the time, and you can't really see what the house looks like unless you go outside the house. So at any rate, what we're changing is the inside of the house, and we don't have it is what it is, right, in any given moment. So it's like when the walls are blue, and then one day you paint them green, and now the walls are green, and now that is reality, right? It's like you make these choices to change things. Okay, so that just gives you like a kind of a taste of the energy of having Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. It's like it's asking us to revision, to reimagine what we want the inside of our house to feel like. What do we want to change? If we could make it different, better, more functional, what would that look like? And so we get to ask ourselves, what do we want to change? What do we want that change to look like? Okay, so that's like the bigger picture story of the outer planets hanging out there in Taurus for much longer than the moon does. The moon, the moon is in Scorpio, but it stays in a sign for 2 to 2.5 days. Jupiter stays in a sign for about a year. Uranus for about 7 years. So we have this bigger story going on, and then the moon moving through it, activating that story in different ways. So with the moon in Scorpio, we have this mood of the day, right? The Astro vibe. That's what we're talking about here. What is the mood of today? It's in Scorpio. It's about transformation. And then you put that in the context of, and it is activating because it is opposite this place in the zodiac that is saying, hey, how do you want your house? How do you want your experience of reality to look different? Like, if you could change it up, what would you do? And then you bring in this energy of like, I am the snake shedding my skin. I get to step into my new sense of self, and voila, you get to emerge into something new that you can choose through your intentions. So again, it's not magic. You don't just say, I want $100 million, and $100 million just appears. It's more like you say, okay, I don't really like the way it feels when the walls are too dark in my house. And so I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try changing my beliefs about what color the walls can be. I'm going to try changing what I do right? Like maybe I'm going to take a day to paint the walls. And the metaphor here, right, is what kind of world do you want to live in? So what are you going to do about the problems that exist in the world? So are you going to change your beliefs about what is possible? Are you going to take a day to go do something about it? What does it look like for you? How is that showing up in your work? And specifically, how are you changing who you are being to be more effective in being of service to that ideal world, the one you want to live in? So that is what I've got for you today. A little bit of food for thought. So emerging into our new self can look like and feel like, how are we changing? What are we noticing about ourselves? How are the feelings that are showing up, the emotion, right? I was talking yesterday about what is emotion and what does it feel like when it shows up and how can we respond to it? Working with some of that quality of emotion, the feelings that are moving through us, so that we can align with this invitation to transform. And so we do not control this process. We can imagine the world we want to live in. We can intend. We can say, my intention is to help my community to be more, to whatever it is that you want to make a difference in. We can intend to be part of the solution. We can intend to be a good citizen, whatever that looks like and means for you. So we choose the intention, and then the transformation moves through us in mysterious ways that we cannot understand. So that's the Scorpio moon part. So lots to think about, lots to allow, letting yourself move and change and grow in ways that it may not even make sense until later when you get a little bit more perspective, but just showing up and noticing your feelings. And I do recommend that you review yesterday's video if you missed it. That would have been September 18th. Just to get a little bit of some ideas about how this might show up and how to work with emotion to align with this emergence of your new self and what that looks like and feels like, and how to be you and allow yourself to grow and change into what you're becoming. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I am Marina Ormes. You can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. Go to my website and check it out for more information about how to work with me, private sessions. If you want some help looking at your own chart, getting some support with your own process and understanding how this is showing up for you and how to work with it in ways that are going to best help you get where you're going, right? Get where you want to be. So thanks for being here. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you next time here with more astrology for unshakable self-care. Bye for now.